When bad things happen or you experience tough times, how long does it take you to let it go, stop dwelling, move forward, and get yourself back in the driver's seat? One of the things I notice is that really successful people have a shorter response time when unfortunate or unfair circumstances happen or they encounter a tough time. They have a shortened response time from that moment to when they can say, okay, this is happening. I can't control it. What's done is done. And I need to start thinking about what I am going to do about it. Versus more unsuccessful or less happy people that get kind of stuck and they sort of can't let what has happened go, and they ruminate and they hang on to it for a very long period of time. One of the things that I'm seeing lately is that organizations are doing layoffs. I have a couple of clients who have recently lost their jobs. I have a couple of neighbors who have recently lost their jobs. And then I have a couple of spouses of clients that have recently lost their jobs. It's normal and very natural to feel grief and loss when this happens. Some people I've talked to have said, I just can't believe it. I was there 15 years. I sort of felt safe. It's just been more than a decade of my life. I don't know kind of what to do with myself right now. It was really surprising. And others felt like, my gosh, it was shocking because I'm a top performer. I was blowing out my results, crushing my goals. I'm an asset. I was driving revenue. And so why me? And what I've advised some of these people to remember is that oftentimes when there's layoffs, it's not personal, it's a business decision. And right now, our current economic times are causing this to happen. It seems like a lot of organizations are tightening the belt, looking at expenses, and making some sacrifices in how many employees and what kind of FTE they can keep. So if this is happening to you or to someone you know, I want to remind you that there is a silver lining to almost everything that we encounter in our lives, but certainly the loss of a job can be a time for us to actually recover and turn it into something great and something better. Let me give you a few examples. Number one, oftentimes when we lose our job, we sort of feel this just loss for what's not there anymore, but we fail to recognize that this could be an opportunity to find a job that we like more, that we're more passionate about, that we're better at, that even pays us more. We don't have to feel like it's impossible to find another job that could be as good and if not better than the previous job. So really taking the time to think about anything that we didn't like in the last job or what our ideal job would look like or what we'd really like to see in the next role, this is an important thing to do because ultimately you could turn this opportunity into the best job of your life. Number two, looking at your resume, I've recently met with a few new clients who are eager to start applying and think about what new opportunities can present themselves, but their resumes haven't been updated in some cases years because they had been at the company so long. I always advise people to update their resumes every 60 to 120 days, at least every 6 months, with your accomplishments, your highlights, what you're proud of, things that are going well, so that you don't have to recreate it afterwards when you're no longer at a company. You don't have access to the numbers and the results and all the memories of what really went well for you. And so taking this time to update your resume, to think about the perfect ideal job, also using the time to focus on things you haven't had time for. I have a friend right now who's out of work who's writing a book, and this is something he's wanted to do for years, but he's just now finally doing it. Other people can use the time to get into better shape and just double down on their physical fitness. You can spend more time with your children. You can potentially learn to play that musical instrument you've always wanted to play. Travel somewhere, maybe see friends and family that you haven't been able to see in a while. Potentially it's just about keeping more clean of a house. But really saying, you know what, I'm out of work and there's things that I always have talked about or thought about doing, I've never done, I just haven't had time for it. Now is the time. I'm not just going to sit here on TV or scrolling through social media. But ultimately, taking steps like these, working on the resume, thinking about the job you want, getting in touch with past colleagues, or thinking about what connections you have that might be able to help you, doing something from a hobby or a passion standpoint, this gets you back in control. This gets you feeling empowered. This helps you to focus on, oh, okay, there's some things about this that are actually going to be very positive for my life. When you get into that mindset, it's funny much of an opportunity you can see that it really is. You can take the time to start applying for jobs, starting to have interviews and conversations from a position of empowerment and gratitude and competence. You can feel good about what you bring to the table and know that you're talented, you're valuable, you're worthwhile. And this is not the end of the world. This happens. But ultimately, that all comes down to how much time you spend thinking about what was lost and what has already happened in the past and what you can't control versus the aspects that you can control. Right now, I'm taking on a couple of new clients who are in these kind of discussions. Some of them are kind of a permanent situation. Others are more temporary. We're just meeting a couple of times to either work on a resume, prepare for interviews, or figure out what kind of people I can connect them to. If you have a situation like that, feel free to let me know, reach out, be happy to talk to you. But again, if you want to be successful, figure out how to shorten that response time. Normal to feel grief, but at the same time as you're processing that, you can also focus on healing, recovery, and where you're headed and what you can really do to gain control back in your life. With that, everybody make a great day. You're more powerful than you think.